This is Wayne Dober from the Funhouse, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Rutger Hauer Harley.
That's me. The Hitcher Harley.
yeah. I figured that had a better ring to it than Pete Postlethwaite Harley.
Well,
I was kind of referring to one of our official films this week, and
that's right.
That's all I can come up with. Or it's better than a Ben Michael J. Pollard Harley.
That's definitely better, yes.
Yep. So, how's it going, Mr. Ben Harley?
Not too bad, Timo. Not too bad. Just working away. I'm only on about my 9th day of work. That's all right, though.
ninth day this week?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but if you want to add the other days on top of the days,
right. Of course, So,
but no. Actually, we're doing good, buddy. We're getting into I know we're in the space-time continuum, but getting a little bit closer to Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I did a couple Halloweeny things here at the shop. Put my mummy.
Nice.
Not my mommy, my mummy.
Up you like your mummy. You like your mummy. I know your mummy. I remember your mummy.
Yeah. So, got him hanging out up front. A couple other ghastly ghouls hanging around. So, very cheaply done.
Right. We used to have Halloween decorations, but we just call that upstairs now.
Yes,
upstairs.
Exactly.
I don't, there's really not
your house.
not much reason for it. I just would have to put a few things outside instead of inside.
Right.
And there's a couple of things outside too. Mr. Ben Harley, speaking of fun frivolity and putting stuff outside, did have our inaugural drive-in weekend, our Dermal Ridge drive-in.
I heard it got a little wet.
Yeah, it was going good, and then it unexpectedly started raining on us, and just enough to make you mad and bring. Yeah. What I did was just real quick thinking. I was like, "Oh my God, it's starting to rain. I don't have anything. Like, what am I going to do here? I got all these people here. There's a lot of people here. I'm like, I don't know what to do." So I got out that smaller screen that kind of looks like a trampoline that we used to take to the Ohio Bigfoot conference.
Yeah.
I took that and I hung it on my garage door and moved everybody inside my garage.
Nice.
So we just basically paused the movie, rolled everything in, but it sucked because everything was working really good. I mean, really good. It was a little cold and everything, and it was really annoying because it just rained long enough to get us inside and then stopped.
Yeah.
And then it was cold too. It was just like, but everybody, they came out and had a good time. They stuck it out, and I appreciated it.
Exactly.
And really I just wanted to try things out, and see what worked, what didn't work. Did have tickets, did give away prizes. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, good.
Most of them were like Pez dispensers and things like that. There was my decorative already drank bottle of Jackie.
A prize.
Yeah, there was my decorative already drank wine bottle with Jackie Gleason on it. There was things like that, so I almost gave somebody a trash bag and said, "Here, you get to take my trash down to the can." So,
that's a good one.
Yeah. So we showed Tremors, we showed Lake Placid. I had the FM transmitter going, Mr. Ben Harley. It was working great, but nobody wanted to sit in their car. Everybody wanted to. I was like, okay, and that makes sense. I got it. So we're basically running off that little bitty speaker that I take to the Bigfoot conference. So that I might have to rethink a couple of things. Really, honestly, the only thing... You
gotta start somewhere, Tim, all right?
That's right.
There you go.
And everybody knew it was kind of an experiment, and
still sounds like fun to me.
It was a good time. Popcorn was a huge hit, Mr. Ben Harley. Thought about you.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the whole time.
But we're going to do it again, Mr. Ben Harley. Going to try to do it during the summer, like I said, and have people decide whether or not they want to deal with the cooler weather
Mosquitoes.
Or the bugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, mosquitoes or cold, you gotta take one or the other, buddy.
Well, that's true. That is
you know,
true.
well, the thing is, Timo, is just if you put you in the middle and everybody else can sit around you, no one else will get attacked.
That's true. That's right. Yeah. Well, that doesn't help me out at all, though.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to have a good time at these things too.
It's not always about you, Tim.
No, it is. It actually is. It's you're wrong about that, and I'm always right. It is always about me. But
that's true.
We had a good time though. Like I said, and Chance's little friend, they helped out with the tickets, and we even gave away a trash bag to everybody and stuff like that. A little fire going. It was nice. It was exactly kind of what we were hoping to have, and except for the weather, but it is what it is. So
hey, even at the drive-in, you gotta expect those.
That's true.
Of things, right?
You are right. You are right. So I got a little story for you here, Mr. Ben Harley. And
good, Timo.
It's going to be like a Bigfoot story. Not really Bigfoot, but it's going to be Bigfoot related. How about that?
Okay.
We talked.
I'm good with that. I'm down.
Good. We've been talking a lot about some of these documentaries. I suspect you might have something coming up, and I did watch. I started watching, I think it's called Bigfoot Monster in the Woods. It's on Amazon right now, and it's from like the late 60s or something, and it's just too...
I might have watched that one.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, it's like 3 hours long or something. It's too much. It's like a clumsy old documentary where it's put together like, pretty poorly, let's put it that way. Although it has all the info there, it's just kind of like, it kind of reminds me of watching like film strips back in grade school about like road safety.
Yeah.
It has that real nice dank look to it, So I was like, I don't know about that. But Mr. Ben Harley, what was interesting about this is that I've told you that living out here, we hear things and stuff. And it's all I've really been talking about because I'm trying to push us to legitimacy here, in a way. I'm like, wait a minute, let's be honest, about stuff about Bigfoot and everything. And we kind of keep going back to that Patterson Gimlin footage. Well, Mr. Ben Harley, me and Angio walk out. Now, Angio listens to the show, but sometimes she's a week or two behind. And I can't ever remember what episode it was we discussed XYZ. I can't remember. Okay. So we go out and we hear that that monkey sound. It's an owl. Yeah. It's an owl. Yeah. It starts off sounding like a monkey. And it's a howl. It's a scream, and it does sound it's even acting like a monkey. I'm not so sure that it isn't taking its wing and itching its own armpit, going, it's really trying to be a monkey. So when we hear that, I told Angie, I go, there it is. She goes, my God, what was that? I said, that's an owl. That's what. And I said, well, okay, I don't know how far you are in the show. I said, but I was just talking to Harley about this in the show, about sounds and about how we hear monkeys, and they're actually beaked owls, not monkeys and things. And then Angie goes, what the hell is that? And I'm like, what? She goes, I see eyes. I'm like, what? What? So we look down into the woods. Now, off of if you can remember at all, the lay of our land out here, Miss Ben Harley.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got I call them the knobs that are going out. We have we're on a high line. We're on like a high ground. There's a bunch of hollows, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we call it Dermal Ridge. Now we have about three major knobs that go out. Okay. They go pretty far into the woods that are still elevated. So we're up on the balcony, and I have the light on. Remember, there's a light on up there. There's a light out there. I have the light on, kind of illuminating just the beginning of the trees, because we got the light just off the door going on the balcony. And she says she sees something. She sees eyes. We saw eye shine. We looked down, and it was almost like a Scooby-Doo cartoon where it was completely black, and then it looked like there were two stationary laser pointer. That's what it looked like, laser pointers. Really? It didn't look like eyeballs. It didn't look like fire. It looked like two lasers, and it moved. You could see it move its head, blink, and that's all you could see was blackness and two dots going back and forth. Man. Yeah. And it's almost like when you see something for the first time. It was impressive.
Beelzebub. Yeah.
It was impressive. It was kind of creepy. And she looked down, and we were trying to figure out what it was. We came up with everything from a bobcat to a squirrel to a deer. We didn't know. We could not tell what it was. Right. It could have been an owl, but it looked like it was on the knob, and we didn't hear anything. We just saw it.
Okay.
So even when it kind of walked away or went away or turned away or whatever it was, we couldn't see it. We could only see its eyes. Couldn't hear anything. Yeah, but we saw legitimate eye shine. And I looked over to NGO and I was like, yep, see what you see out here? It's amazing when you live out here. We've lived out here for a year. We've seen eye shine. We've heard howls. We've heard tree knocks. We've heard everything. We've seen a lot of stuff too. I said, isn't it amazing if we were still just everyday townies or city folk, whatever you want to call it, and we came out here to visit and you saw that?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what the hell has glowing eyes in the woods? You know? And, but it was, I don't want to say eye-opening. That's in poor taste with this, even for me. You know? Yeah, right. Yeah. But it was interesting. And she saw it, not me. She's like, you know, I mean, it scared her. It's not scared her, but it creeped her out. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. We don't know what it was.
No, that would creep me out.
Yeah. Clearly an animal. It looked like some kind of bobcat or something to me. I mean, I don't think it was a deer.
Was that panther? Maybe
a
panther is after you.
Yeah. So, and it could have been an owl or something, but it looked like it was
fairly... You've been talking about him again lately.
Yeah. Well, it could have been an owl too. It looked like the eyes looked fairly wide apart, you know, and stuff like that. But again, it showed that we were going through every animal in the woods. Angie even said, maybe it's a possum. So maybe it is.
Yeah,
you know, we just didn't.
Oh, yeah, possums have some red beady eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But it just goes to show you how if you take your backpack and a tent and some brews, you go out into the woods looking for a Bigfoot and you hear shit. And remember, it was back to back. We heard the owl scream. Okay. Now, the only way you can tell it's an owl is the end of the scream. Okay. And you know it's an owl. Yeah. Because it starts doing something kind of like owly, let's call it that way. Yeah. Sort of, man. You got to hear them. There's like different owls make incredibly different noises. It's amazing to me out here. And so but still we heard that, and immediately, I mean, it was almost in the same, I had him in the same 30-second block of time. She saw the eye shine, and from different directions, by the way. The owl was on one side. It was on the opposite side, the left-hand side of the woods. Yeah. And then the eye shine was on the right. But we saw it, and it was real. And it does look like a Scooby-Doo, like the opening of the Scooby-Doo cartoon where the eyes are in the darkness and stuff, except it did look like a laser pointer, like two laser pointers, like gold, shiny gold almost.
That's funny.
And they blinked, and it looked almost unreal, like robotic.
Yeah.
Because you can only see the eyes. Cartoon. Yeah. Because you can only see the eyes, and they move in unison because they're not floating around the whatever animal's face. So it's creepy looking, you know. It's a little different, but we did see it, Mr. Ben Harley. Did see it. Cool.
You guys are always coming up with something out there, I tell you.
I can, and it's understandable how somebody would go out and see something like that and think it's maybe filler evidence, let's call it.
Sure.
You know, but that's what I'm not buying anymore. So I'm not really watching any show about evidence or stuff anymore, because it's like, now I live out here and it's like, it's not impressive.
No.
It's not impressive. And I sometimes I wonder if they go to these people's houses who live out in it, and people are like, well, I'll tell you my story, but we don't know what it was. You know, it's like, well, just tell the story. Well, I was sitting here and I heard a yell out there, and then they cut right when I'm saying, but I hear shit out here all the time, you know.
Right.
Interesting stuff, Mr. Ben Harley. Interesting stuff. So.
Yeah, Tim, I'm going to come out there. I'm going to have to stay up one night and do my own investigation, I think.
It's all you got to do is sit.
It's an owl, isn't it?
Yeah, all you got to do is, and especially if you're on that balcony, you can see a lot off that balcony. I mean, you got a good view of everything, as much as you can. Sure. Well, moving on, Mr. Ben Harley, let me get into what we watched here real quick. From 1940, Mr. Ben Harley.
Your comfort zone.
That's right. Watch The House of the Seven Gables.
Okay. Now, I think I've seen this.
Okay. Well, it's got George Sanders, Vincent Price, Dick Ferran from the Mummy sequel movies. Cecil Kellaway from I Married a Witch and The Mummy's Hand. Old funny fella. Alan Napier. Alfred. That's right. Alfred. And it was directed by Joe May, who did The Invisible Man Returns with Vincent Price in it. Made the same year. So him and Vincent were hanging out drinking that year. From a Nathaniel Hawthorne story, of course, and most people have heard of House of the Seven Gables. Yeah. It was in it was also Vincent Price also did a version of House of the Seven Gables in the movie Twice Told Tales. So that might have been what you saw.
Yeah,
you might have seen that. This was an older 1940, like kind of a posh Hollywood kind of costume type movie. Good though, good. Reason we watched it is because when me and Angio met, I remember her telling me like she was trying to give me anything at all about anything spooky that she knew about. I was like, "Haven't you seen anything, woman?" That kind of thing. And she's like, "Well, I read House of the Seven Gables." And I'll never forget she said it. So we have it. We watched it now. So enjoyed watching it with her and trying to keep that first week spark going, Mr. Ben Harley. Just as hard as I can. I can't lose her, Mr. Ben Harley.
No,
I'm not looking any better in my older age. I'm telling you. I thought I would age like fine wine. I'm more aging like the beer you left out last night after having a bender.
Like fine cheese, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm aging like fine bread. Let's see. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley.
Okay.
From 1988. Now, I've talked about this movie before a little bit and about how I don't like it. I have not changed my opinion about that very much, but I do go back and watch it every now and then just to make sure it hasn't changed.
Okay.
And that was Serpent in the Rainbow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't like it.
I actually saw that one in the theater back in the day. I can't say that I did not like it. It was just kind of weird for me, and then the whole thing at the end, I'm like, oh, so that was it? Okay, kind of like the Jacob's Ladder type thing, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
But, it's not one that I've gone back and watched a bunch of times, or I've really ever recommended to anybody.
Right,
but,
right.
I don't know.
I mean, there is a cult of people that like it. I mean, and I don't mean that literally, but I'm just saying there's a
whoa, look out for them.
We'll get to that later in our official films. But there is a group of people that really like this. I understand a Wes Craven. And here's the one thing. The one thing I will say, it doesn't feel like a Wes Craven movie. It's a Wes Craven movie.
It really doesn't.
But it really doesn't. And I think, speaking of casting, Bill Pullman, I think, was horribly miscast in this movie. I mean, just...
You think so?
I think so. He's too loony. I mean, they needed somebody like... I think they wanted Kevin Costner for it. That would have been much better. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. It's one of these movies that everything's going on in his head. I hate that.
Yep.
I hate it, Mr. Ben Harley. I hate it. I want to take paper and tear it up. I hate it. I can't stand it. I mean, it's like,
Jacob's Ladder.
Well, yeah, that one. I can't stand that too. And then although half the quote supernatural movies in the 2000s, like early 2000s, were all like shit going on in people's heads, or they're getting spooked by shadows and stuff. I just don't like it. I mean, but I did go back just to. You got to go back, Mr. Ben Harley. And sometimes you got to do things you don't want to, Mr. Ben Harley.
Right.
Sometimes
and sometimes we've gone back to stuff I thought I really enjoyed and came out thinking, what the hell was wrong with me?
Happens to me even sometimes too. I agree with that. Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Right. Let's see here.
Where's my life gone?
Right. From 1942. 1942, Angio and I watched Ghost of Frankenstein.
Oh, okay.
With your buddy Lon Chaney playing the monster.
Yeah, that's my man.
Lugosi reprising his role as Igor. We got a little Ralph Bellamy in it. Lionel Atwill, who just pops up in these movies as whatever damn character he feels like. He's got like an open invite to Universal horror movie sets when he's bored. Well, I think I'll go make some money. And he just goes and shows up. Dwight Fry. Dwight Fry. Yeah. Cedric Hardwicke is one of the worst Dr. Frankensteins of ever. I don't mind Cedric Hardwicke, but no, that's just bad. So let's see. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Moving on. Getting through these. From 1977, Mr. Ben Harley.
Oh, I like that.
This actually has a connection to one of our official films this week. I watched the movie The Car.
Ah, yes.
Now, how you say?
How?
Yeah. How is that? How is that connected?
How's that possible?
Because there is a quote in the beginning of the film from Anton LaFey, who was the originator of the Church of Satan.
Yeah.
Because it's a satanic car.
Yeah,
and we
very
have
satanic.
we have a satanic movie this week where he was the technical advisor and played a character. Anton LaFay.
Did he really?
Yes. The guy. Yeah. The Church of Satan.
The guy. Yeah. The guy.
Yes. Now, of course, Mr. Ben Harley, we know that the movie The Car is a Jawsy film.
Oh, yes. Very Jawsy.
Very Jawsy. Satanic Jawsy.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Yeah.
Angio picked it out.
Did you really?
Yeah, well, we were just going through stuff, and I said, what about the car?
Angio.
She's like, well, what's the car? I was like, I explained to her, but, I tell you what. It's just, that movie's so much better than it should be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. The Car. It's like, here, I have a horror film for you. It's called The Spoon.
The Spoon.
I just, how you make a good horror, but then again, I started thinking about it. I'm like, you got Duel.
Mm-hmm.
You got some other movies too that they're actually pretty good, but it just seems to me like really I'm not afraid of cars.
Well, I am when they're bearing down.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Good movie though, Mr. Ben.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I love that movie. What I think helps that movie a lot too, Timo, is it's the car being nondescript.
Yeah,
too.
It does. Yeah,
it is. It's like you really can't put a label on what kind of car it is.
Right.
So I think then that car really, it does become a character in the film, too, a little bit. I just liked that movie. When I was younger, that was one of those, I just loved it. I mean, when I first saw that movie, I just absolutely loved it. Still do. Mm-hmm. I think, too, going back and watching that, I actually really enjoy it more now. I mean, back when I was younger, the car, when the car goes through a house, when you're 13 years old or however old I was, oh shit, I was probably 7 or 8 probably when I saw it, I guess. I mean, for a young kid, you're like, oh my God, but I actually think the movie's pretty good too. It's okay. It's not
right.
It's got its moments. I like that movie.
It's casted well.
Yeah.
It's got a good cast. I mean, you got John Marley, Ronnie Cox, R.G. Armstrong, James Brolin, of course, is the lead. And, he handled those 70s goofy horror movies pretty well.
Oh, yeah. They took that one real serious, And what also was good about that movie, just like in Duel, like I said, you never saw the driver. Right. You never saw the driver in this till the end when it came out as a demon.
That was a little weird. Yeah, it's a little weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was like, oh, yeah, that's so cool. Because you didn't know. Now, is there someone in this car? Is it just a crazy person, or whatever? And I think the fact that it didn't show someone in the car was awesome, too. And there's one of my favorite scenes is when James Brolin, he's like goes out into the garage and the car's there waiting for him. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's so tense of a scene because it's such a small little spot in that garage where that car could just run him over at any second. Yeah, and it's just real tense. I like this.
With no explanation how it got there.
No, nope. It could have just appeared.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Which is, I'd buy it. Yeah. But that movie, the older I get and the more movies that I watch and the newer ones and even ones that I haven't seen that are supposedly the greatest ones, the more I like The Car and movies like Prophecy and I'm not ashamed of it. I think they're fine movies,
Oh, yeah. I mean? And
I still... I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just saying, okay, Christine.
Orca.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, there's Christine, people are like, well, Christine was good. It's like, I know, but Christine was made, 5 years later. And there's a difference between movies that were made in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, there's a difference in almost every decade, but I'm just saying, it just seems like the sensibilities of 1977 doesn't lend itself. It lends itself to me more like a TV movie. Does that make sense to you? And it's not. This is not a TV movie. It's not. It doesn't. It could feel like one so easy, And I think that's where Duel was really good. Is that even though it was made for television, it didn't feel like a made for TV movie.
No, that movie, same thing. Both of them I guess Duel maybe much more than the car. I don't know. It's been a long time, but I was really gripped to the screen watching Duel. I really was, and there wasn't a monster in it, but that truck was the monster, and it was scary and terrifying, and it was real, like, you know what I mean? But Duel, I mean, the car, I'll always love that. I think it should be heralded more, I guess, than it is. I think it's one of the best movies from that time period. I really do. I just love it. It's fun.
It's surprising. It's just a surprising film. It looks
good, too.
It does look good.
It looks really good. It was shot well.
Yes, it was.
Back then, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I got, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, what you got?
Nothing. I'm just going to call it quits. So let's just wrap it up. No. Hold on, buddy. I was still thinking about something.
I like to say it came out of nowhere, but it didn't.
Yeah, it did. It came out of nowhere. The only thing I was still thinking about the car. There are a couple of scenes where they sped up the film, which takes a little bit away from it. But other than that,
yeah, but they did that in Road Warrior and Mad Max also, and I just think it was a time peried, and you kind of got used to that. I mean, like the Three Stooges couldn't have a fight without speeding it up.
Keystone Cops.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, Timo. Let's see here, buddy. Where do I start? Well, the New Jersey Devils have started, and they're doing good. So I'll get back to you when they're doing bad.
Okay.
No, I have enjoyed watching them. We're going to be going to Detroit, my daughter and I, November 1st to see them play.
Oh, cool.
The first time, the new Little Caesars Arena up in Detroit. So I'm excited. Caitlin goes a lot with her fiance up there to see games. So it's be my first time, Timo. So
there you go.
Yes.
Nice.
Timo, let's see, my man. Where do I go from here? Okay, yes, I am the new recipient of a 50-inch television.
Oh, that's right.
So excited.
Nice.
I'm so excited. I finally took the plunge, and it's not a higher end one, but that's okay. Right? You can plug Roku sticks and Fire sticks and all that stuff into them and all that stuff.
Sure.
And it's funny, the TV I got a pretty good deal on it, but probably a year or a year and a half ago, it was probably around a $450 television. Right. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay having a couple-year-old model, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
So I'm so excited that, that I haven't got to experience a whole lot since I've been printing quite a bit. But it does look good.
Is it a smart TV or just a dumb TV? I like the dumb TVs.
Yeah, it's just a simple old hickey Hicksville television. I
like dumb TVs and I like dumb Blu-ray players, and I'm searching for them because I don't want all my shit hooking up to the internet. I just want it to be a monitor. Yeah. That's it.
Sure.
And I want to gotta have a tuner on it for the antenna, for my snooty antenna. Besides that, I'm good. So that's a good buy. You got a dumb TV. Good.
Yeah. Well, we got that Apple, I got the Apple thing, so I can use that. And
buy a Roku thing for $20 or something too. Yeah. Exactly.
So speaking of Roku, thanks Timo for the segue. I was able to bring my Roku television down here, and we got rid of our gigantic beast of a television. That
oh boy.
Well, it's about it's a big ass television. It's about as wide. Well, as deep as it is wide, I guess. Big thing. It has to be moved with a 2-wheel cart.
Oh, golly.
Huge thing. So we moved that out of here and moved my Roku down stairs, which I'm really excited about. I did get to watch a few things, Timo. I have had my Roku set up for a while, but we put a few more channels on there. I had the pleasure of watching some Riff Tracks and Mystery Science.
Nice.
Now, I mentioned this one to you, Timo. There was one that I caught the other night while I was printing. And now I know I was a little dopey. I might have been on the weed, but mostly because I've been working all day. Very tired. Very tired.
Right.
And we were watching one called Brazilian Bigfoot. And what appeared to me to be a movie / documentary, I think actually was a real documentary. I'm going to have to look into it, because if it was a real documentary, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Not documentary wise, but maybe Riff Tracks wise. You know what I'm saying? So,
where'd you see it at?
It was on when we were watching Pluto the other night. Okay. Yeah, it has a Mystery Science channel and a Riff Tracks channel where you just, once you just go on the channel, it plays whatever is going on or whatever.
Sure, right. It's live TV.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was pretty funny. So I don't know if it was a real documentary. It's just about a guy going out looking in the Brazilian wilderness or whatever for a Bigfoot type creature. But it came down. Well, it attacked one guy and ripped his roof off his house and came at him and slashed at him and stuff. But towards the end of the documentary, I think the guy was basically just saying he thinks it was a sloth. Well, I don't know how many giant sloths there are, and I don't know how many are going to rip off the roof of a house.
Well, there used to be giant sloths. I don't know if they're going to rip off the roof of a house. I don't know if they're that intense.
And I don't know if they're still roaming the countryside. I don't know.
I have heard that before, that they're that they think that the giant sloth might still be alive, and that it might be mistaken for some sort of Bigfoot type legendary creature. Believe it or not, I have heard that before. And I mean, if you look at the size of what a giant sloth was, it sounds funny until you actually look at like how big they were. I mean, this is legit. Like, not some imaginary giant sloth.
Like a skeleton of one.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, huge. But if I'm not mistaken, a sloth isn't known for its speed and dexterity. But I don't know. I don't know if it's
I don't know though.
Yeah,
it might have. I don't know. So you have to look for it. Brazilian Bigfoot.
Now, is this a new movie? I mean, just a movie, not the riff tracks part. But I mean, is the Brazilian Bigfoot? New?
It looked really new.
Was it like an episode of Monster Quest, maybe, or something like that?
I have no idea. I just went into it. I didn't get to see all of it. And I apologize. But I saw at least an hour or more of it. And at the end, I'm like, is that because there was like no credits like actor? It was like a National Geographic ending, like where it has something at the bottom of the screen and tell you where, but it didn't have like, I don't know. Like produced that up. Yeah. It was insane. So very interesting. I enjoyed that. Also, like I said, they had the Mystery Science channel, which I watched Jungle Girl, which I think we've talked about before. White Devils and all that stuff.
Yeah, Aquanet is in some of those movies.
And then there was one, Timo, that came on after Jungle Girl that I watched, and I've never seen this one. I've heard of this one. I think you've talked about it maybe. I think it also might be on one of the discs that you gave me, the giant gorilla movies disc that you gave me, but this was the King of Kong Island.
Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. That was on Mystery Science. Not many Kings of Kong in there. There were some gorillas or guys in gorilla suits, but never really saw a Kong-like character. But it was nonetheless, it was very fun to watch, and I'm just tickled pink to be able to come back here and just turn on, Mystery Science. For me, sometimes I'm cool with it. I don't even have to think about which one. Just turn it on.
Right.
If whatever's on, go with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I might not even look at the guide to see what's coming on next, and just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they have riff tracks on there too.
Yeah, there's a riff tracks channel and a Mystery Science channel right next to each other. Let me ask you a question. How is it functioning for you?
Good. Actually, when I first turned it on, it gave me about the first minute or 2 minutes, it gave me a little goofy buffering. But other than that, when I kept it on, it ran smooth for hours.
So once you let it like kind of sync up, it started going pretty good. Okay, because I've had some buffering issues with it before, but
my only problem is some of the commercials, and it's not a lot of them, but there are a few. They're not, it's just the same ones over
and over. Yeah, it's that streaming commercial stuff.
That's annoying, but after a while, I just kind of tune it out. After the 50th time I've heard the same, So I'm so happy though having the Roku TV down here though. It'll open me up to be able to watch it, because I had it upstairs and I'd watch a little bit before I go to bed at night, but I wasn't really using it to its full potential.
Yeah, you're more of a day watcher. Like I'm a night watcher. I won't turn my TV on during the day. I can't handle it. But I mean, you're the opposite, so I get that.
It's good for me when I'm doing my printing and stuff. And I used to like to listen to music, but I can't so much anymore. because I like to listen to it with my headphones, but there's just too many people coming in and out.
Yeah.
People. Ugh. No,
Right.
yeah. Just wait till Soylent Green happens.
I'll eat you all.
Yeah, right. A couple more things real quick, Timo. I did get to watch some trailers on my new snooty television.
Oh, nice.
My 50-inch television. Yeah. Tim was like, yeah, I got a 125-inch television.
Well, now wait a minute. My sunroom is 49. It's
49.
by the same thing.
Yeah.
So I enjoy watching television at that size.
Yeah, it's nice. I think I did mention before the Godzilla trailer. I went back and watched it again for the new Godzilla movie coming out. I think it's coming out in May of 2019.
Okay, what's that
so
called?
We got a little ways. Godzilla.
Never mind. I shouldn't even ask what it was called because it's going to be called Godzilla again, probably.
Godzilla something. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I'll get back to you.
The Godzilla.
Godzilla. King of the Monsters, something like that.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Should be just called Godzilla.
You just have to look at the release year to know what the hell you're watching.
Tim, I don't
anymore.
anymore. I'm so confused with all the different things anymore. It's like, well, it's Godzilla 2.395.
Yeah, I know.
No, this is the one where it takes place when the other ones didn't know. So this is the new, the legendary. So I guess part 2 to the Godzilla franchise now, the legendary Godzilla franchise, which I'm real happy with. I was disappointed there wasn't as much Godzilla in the last one, but the stuff that when he was on screen, oh man, home runs. There was lots of home runs in that movie for me. Like some of the greatest images in Godzilla history for this guy. But I'm hoping for this movie, it's going to be amped up a little bit more. Now, I think I've mentioned this to you on air, maybe and off, but what it looks like is like the human race is basically a virus, and that the Earth has contingencies to take care of viruses or whatever. Maybe the other dinosaurs, I don't know. But what I'm gathering from what I read, though, I read a little bit a synopsis that sounded a little bit better. Basically, these titans come back, which is Ghidra, Mothra, Rodan, and Godzilla. And they basically come back to fight for supremacy of the Earth, which I'm better off at that. Okay, I didn't know you're just coming back just to kill the humans and you're all working together. I didn't know. But from the synopsis, it sounds like, so they all come back to battle for supremacy. Whoever wins, then I guess human and or monsters, whatever. And I'm cool with that. That sounds a little bit more like destroy all monsters to me. Now, I could use a few more monsters. Look at me. I'm getting Ghidra on screen and I'm already bitching about something else, whatever. I'm excited. They've only showed like shadows of Ghidra, but just they've showed Rodan looks pretty cool. I could care less about Mothra because I know what's going to happen. Mothra is going to end up
spinning his juice all over everybody.
Whatever. And you beat up every monster in the known universe, but can't beat a moth.
But just lure him in with a giant light.
So like Godzilla, we know what he looks like. Rodan looks kind of cool. It looks more like a lava type. He looks like he comes out of which he did in the other ones. Comes out of a volcano. So I'm cool with that. It looks like when he flies by, he destroys cities. That like in the old Godzilla movies and stuff. So I'm just hoping that they do keep with, and it looks like a lot of the old Godzilla lore and stuff like that. But I will say, for the first time in a long time, when they just showed shadows of Ghidra, and it gave me goosebumps. I'm so excited. We'll see how he looks. I'm sure they'll change him a lot, and not a lot, but a little. But just the fact that it's going to sound bad, that they got the balls to bring Ghidra, the three-headed monster, on screen for me, I'm applauding. Now, if the movie's good, God bless them. I'm hoping for a good movie, but just the fact that you're doing that for me as a Godzilla nerd, I'm excited. I'm happy, but we'll see. I want to see Ghidra in his full glory. You know, I'm a Godzilla fan. I love Godzilla, but there's certain other monsters in the Godzilla universe or whatever that I love. When Ghidra showed up, everything went down. You had to have 4 or 5 monsters show up to fight Ghidra. You know what I mean? So I'm excited. I think hopefully I got hope. You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi's my only hope. But I really, really hope that they do something good with this, you know. But yeah, Timo, so I'm Godzilla, you know. It's my favorite actor. What can I say? So you know, Timo, 2 more trailers. One Aquaman's coming out. I watched that about halfway through the trailer. I'm like, this sucks. It looks pretty dumb. The other half of the trailer, I was wow. I was like, this is going to be pretty good. It's going to, you know, if you like CGI, you're going to like it a lot, you know, but
still waiting.
yeah. But I mean, I will say the first half of it just was kind of boring. The second half of the trailer, I think it's looks pretty damn good. You know, I do like the ocean. I like Aquaman. I like great white sharks. I mean, you see a couple guys riding on a couple great white sharks, looks pretty badass. So, I don't know. We'll see. You know me, Timo. I'm a big fan of Namor too. So but yeah. So
doesn't the suit issue bother you in the Aquaman thing?
Yes.
I mean, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very much.
I'm not real
so.
impressed with the Aquaman stuff. So
it's we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's all right.
Yeah, change them all up. Whatever. So last but not least, Tim, I don't know. I guess we are approaching the Halloween season, but I did try to go back and watch the Halloween trailer again. Sort of mildly excited, but I don't know. I'm not looking forward to Jamie Lee Curtis in a big face-off, shotgun and Michael Myers. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. I've had a lot of
it looks good though, as far as it looks like him. It feels to me more. I didn't like the zombie stuff, you know. So this actually feels like Halloween-ish, I guess.
No, it's supposed to be a direct sequel, right? To the first one, as if part 2 never took place. So
yeah, it's bullshit. They actually say he took him into captivity, or not captivity. They took him into custody that night. Come on. And also, now Timo, real fast, if I was a maniac, Timo, right? And I wore a fez, right, and glasses, and called myself the potentate of hate,
right?
And they put me away in an insane asylum because I tried to, I don't know, let's say, kill you, Timo, right? Okay. Now, would it be a smart idea to bring my fez and my glasses and things like that to see me at an insane asylum? Don't you think that might set my cork a bobbin or my
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and from the trailer, it looks to me like they're trying to goad him to do that. That's what it kind of. That's what
Why would you bring the mask? That's like bringing the atomic bomb, or bring the switch to an atomic bomb party. I don't. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound like it's going to end well, and obviously it did not. So, I'm excited. I guess a little, only because I like Michael Myers so much, and I like Halloween.
Right.
I don't like him that much, you know what I mean? I don't want to meet him,
right.
You know. But, you know, I just like, especially around the Halloween time and stuff like that. I just hopefully we'll see. We'll see. So that's it, buddy. That's it. I don't want to go into too much on it. So
okay,
we talked a lot about Godzilla.
We'll have to see with the Halloween movie, and with all these movies coming out, I have low expectations with everything, and I apologize to the audience, but it's just like it's just me. I mean, I don't like anything, and I'm kind of a curmudgeon-y kind of person, and I want to see something good, but I think I might be stuck a little bit. You know, I mean,
I didn't watch the Suspiria trailer, Timo. I didn't watch that yet, so
okay. Well, I mean, with Suspiria too, it doesn't look good, and then I've heard people say, "No, I've heard it's really good," and I'm like, "Wow, geez, you know, I mean, there's already Suspiria."
Yeah.
It's already Suspiria. I mean, it's like let's do something different. Let's try something new. Let's try. But I ain't never gonna win none of this stuff. I'm just, where's my cane? I'm just gonna start waving it around the room here. Might hit something. I don't know. Get off my grass. Get off my lawn. Yeah. So let's get to our official films there, Mr. Ben Harley.
All right, Tim, let's do that, buddy.
We'll go in chronological order. It seems to be working out okay.
All right. Yeah.
For us here. Let's see here. First up from 1975. We have The Devil's Reign.
Devil's Reign.
Yes. All right, let me get out movie guy here. Got a little bit of a little bit of a longer storyline synopsis here. So get out movie guy. Let's see if I can get through this here. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Take an all-star cast, including William Shatner, Ernest Borgnine, Eddie Albert, Keenan Wynn, Tom Skerritt, Ida Lupino, and even John Travolta in his movie debut.
Travolta was in this?
Yes.
Where was Travolta?
We'll talk about it.
Was he wearing a hood?
Yes. Yeah. At their most hellishly over the top, and one of the most visually inventive filmmakers of the era, director Robert Fust. Or it's, some people call him Faust and Fust. It's F-U-E-S-T. Anyway, so there we go.
Fust. Of
the abominable Dr. Phibes fame, and thrust them into an insane tale of... I'm stopping. Hold on. I'm stopping.
Leave that in there.
I'm stopping. Let me get a different storyline. Here we go. I'm going to do my own storyline now. Movie guy, you're fired. What? Fired for at least 5 minutes or so. Okay, here we go. There's a family who lives out in like it looks like a California mountainous desert kind of.
Yeah.
It could be Arizona or something like that. And they have a book that some local Satan worshipers, they need to have that book. Mm-hmm. And this is your typical witchcraft, devilish type story where way back when people wore funny clothes, there was people accused of devil worship and stuff. They were burned at stakes, and there's curses everywhere to and fro.
Lots of curses being tossed about.
Yes, and how many times have we seen that in these witchcraft type movies? So it's that. Mm-hmm. So William Shatner, he tries to go and save the day, and he gets caught up in the devil worship stuff. Well, Tom Skerritt is the brother that made good. He's like a doctor, researcher, scientist type guy working on ESP. Yeah. And when the family gets all messed up because the devil worshippers, they get him. They basically get him. And if Ernest Borgnine is the main devil worshiper leader guy, if he gets his book and if he gets all this stuff going, then we're going to have Devil's Reign. We're going to have, all kinds of bad satanic crap going on. Mm-hmm. So Tom Skerritt and Eddie Albert is actually sort of weirdly cast as his a
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's like his scientist
colleague.
His colleague. Yeah, they're in the ESP, and then there's a girl they bring too. And she's got a bunch of ESP stuff, but she kind of gets lost in the shuffle of the film in an odd kind of way. So basically, it's really a battle of Tom Skerritt and Eddie Albert trying to stop Ernest Borgnine from finishing the ceremony with this book and stuff. So you've heard this kind of story before. That was much easier than that damn. I don't know. Sometimes this is a Seven release, by the way. I just think some of the things in the back here are kind of bad. Some of these, so I apologize. Movie guy could not
too much in there.
Yeah, I think movie guy just wasn't.
Pantses.
This wasn't a movie guy kind of storyline synopsis here. So I apologize, but that's basically it. The interesting thing is, I did mention earlier that Anton LaVey had a quote at the beginning of the car, and he was the technical advisor for this film. The guy who started the church of the Satanic Church, or Church of Satan or whatever, technical advisor, and he actually played one of the high priest guys who had sort of a face helmet on, but you could tell he had a goatee, He was kind of standing off in the background a little bit, and he had a couple lines. That was him.
That was him.
Yeah, that was Anton.
He had one real bad. He had one real bad line. At one point.
I know. And then John Travolta. Yeah, he played. He got no, and he was one of the hooded guys. He played Danny, I guess, in the Four. So yes. Anyway,
how could they keep that face hidden? Come on. What about his hair? Timo, his hair.
I don't know. I was Epstein. So I think this is the second time I've seen it. I know I've seen it before, but I can only recall seeing this one other time. It was kind of a rare film. Not super out there and stuff like that. Is this the first time you've seen this?
Yeah, Tim, I've heard of this film, but it's the first time I've seen it.
Okay, what'd you think?
That's packed full of stars, that's for sure.
Yes.
It's not a bad movie, Timo. What I do kind of like is, this is a perfect movie for William Shatner. Mm-hmm. To kind of snap a little, And I like that. I like when he's over the top. I really do. I do. This is post Captain Kirk stuff. So he was doing a lot of these movies around this time. I don't know how well he did with them or whatnot, but there's a few of these, that I liked. Yeah, exactly. And look at him now, Timo. Jeez.
Still working.
Still working. Yeah, but I guess I like the fact of the movie where he just kind of goes, it kind of remind me, or since we've been talking about the car, a little bit like it's a lot of desolate places in the movie too, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which I like. I like he goes to they call the ghost town or whatever. The guy, Keenan Wynn's character plays a sheriff or whatever, and they say that the town that it's basically a ghost town.
Right. That's where the devil worshippers are held up.
Yes. Yeah. And they had like a little church there. But I like it because Shatner goes there basically because his parents were attacked. Yeah. For the book. And so he goes there to kind of defend or get his parents, because they took his mother, left his father hung up they tied him up quick. Yeah. Tied that guy up quick. Yeah. So, he goes there to kind of, and then they do a battle of your faith against mine type thing. And Shatner doesn't fare very well. No. He gets out of the place. Right. He gets out and tries to run away, but then they take him back in. And that's when his brother, Tom Skerritt, comes in kind of from there to help save the day. Right. Yeah. So
it's a little complicated. I mean, it's not really. I mean, there's a lot of plot points. But it isn't throwing them all at you at one time. Yeah,
And I like Ghost Town because when Shatner shows up, you're really not sure. You're like, there's Ernest Borgnine. Mm-hmm. They're talking. He doesn't look like the devil. You know what I mean? Right. I liked that part, and then the town is it's just totally desolate, and then the church looks like a burned out church, an old church. You know? And I kind of liked a lot of that. I guess I liked more of the visuals in this movie than the actual some of the things that were happening in the movie. But I don't know, Timo. I guess I kind of enjoyed it. What was funny? Did you notice in this in the movie? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. When you are under the possession of the devil or whatever, you don't have eyes. Right. Your eyes are hollowed out.
Yeah, and it starts off kind of cool because right away in the beginning of the movie, this is a peel away movie. I call them peel away. You don't know what's happening. The audience doesn't know what's happening, but the characters do. Yeah. So a lot of times you go with a character throughout a film and you're figuring out things with them. No, they know. They know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. It just jumps right in. And so in the beginning, there's a big rain storm going on. And William Shatner's there with his mother and I guess a caretaker or somebody, old fella there. And then and his dad comes back. And he's melting in the rain. Yeah. Basically. And his eyes are hollowed out. His eyes are hollowed out and stuff. So... but yes, whenever Ernest Borgnine's got his devil claws into you because you have a zombie, not zombie, but you have a white looking face, pale ash looking face, and you have eye sockets. instead of eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of little disturbing. Good. It's a good little thing in the movie. I think it works.
Yeah, yeah. And then so basically, with Shatner losing, he has to pay the price and becomes is under Ernest Borgnine's.
They
care.
torture him. They torture stuff out of him. Yeah, they're like carving pentagrams in his chest and everything.
Yeah, they're melting wax figures that look like him.
Yes,
and he burns, and so Tom Skerritt basically tries to help his brother and stuff like that.
And he's the voice of reason. Tom Skerritt is the guy you're supposed to be following. He's the audience. Yeah. He's coming from an educated. You could tell he's the brother that left to get away to go on, move on to further things instead of living out in the middle of nowhere, working on ESP, and just happens to get a call that the family's been missing or as something's happened to him, and so he goes back and with the
ESP girl.
With the ESP girl, yeah, and
she kind of helps fill some of the plot holes too, because she sees things where she has the vision of how. Basically,
the flashbacks,
of
the history of the town. You see them through her, because of her ESP.
And then Ernest Borgnine, you find out that basically he was burned at the stake, and then he put a curse on the family. Right, and
William Shatner,
not just one generation, from here on out or whatever.
Right, and William Shatner, the families have been intertwined over this for a long, long time since, I guess we're kind of saying pioneer days.
Yeah,
or whatever is what they were alluding to. Yes.
Now, Timo, you kind of blew my mind by saying Travolta was up in this film. Now, did you notice that Michael Myers made an appearance for a little while in this film too?
Michael Myers.
Did you notice that? Yeah. Well, it kind of looked like William Shatner.
I got you. Yeah.
But did you notice that though? That was, to me, it was a big slap, not slap in the face, but hit over the head, because that's why I mentioned the hollowed out eyes. Now, when you look at him in there, it looks just like the Michael Myers mask, because basically, if anybody that doesn't know, they took a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask, spray painted it white, and hollowed the eyes out. And that's Michael Myers mask.
Right.
So in this movie, when he got the hollowed out eyes, there was one point where they were showing him, and Tom Skerritt was kind of trying to hold him up and stuff. It to me was like, wow, it looked just like Michael Myers, but with skin tone. You know what I mean? It looked. It was bizarre to me, and I didn't know if you noticed.
I didn't notice it. No, I did not notice
it. It kind of freaked me out. If you get a chance, go back and look. It's like right towards the end where Tom Skerritt's trying to get him out of there, and Shatner's kind of reeling. And it looks. Oh my God! It's. You can just see it completely.
Right. I get you.
So I want to know if you noticed that.
No, I did not.
If it was Michael Myers or if it was Shatner.
I didn't even think about it. It wasn't even I don't really think about the Michael Myers mask a whole lot. It's like I know what it is, and that's about where it ends. But it didn't dawn on me while I was watching this.
Yeah, certain. There's like one or two pictures that I've seen over the years that are some of my favorite pictures. There's one with him holding a daisy. A picture of Michael Myers from that they were just screwing around on set or whatever,
right?
And it's like it screams William Shatner though. It's funny. So, but that's me because
right.
I'm weird about that. I'm weird about the mask.
Well, here's some interesting stuff about this movie. Robert Faust or Fust or whatever. I do not know how to pronounce his name. It's an odd spelling. He did do both of the Dr. Phibes movies with Vincent Price in them. So this was the movie he was going to do, and this thing got panned so hard it ruined his career. He had to escape. He had to retreat into television.
Because I can imagine this didn't go over real.
It didn't.
Real well.
It didn't. And apparently, according to what I think Ernst Borgnine said, that it was financed with mafia money, and he never even got paid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, John Travolta was asked about it also in an interview, and he said, "Oh man, he's like, that was a terrible movie, and there were so many stars in it, Well, terrible that's one way of looking at it. I don't think this is a terrible movie at all. Actually,
I would say it's terrible, but it's for what they had. It could have been.
It's a B movie. Better. It's a B movie. Sure. And there's some moments like when Ernest Borgnine kind of turns into the goat devil guy that you're like, whoa, hey there.
That was shocking. No, not shocking, jarring.
Yeah, and there's moments like that. I actually think that it kind of holds up surprisingly well. The end of it just goes off the wall. I mean, it just goes insane because they're messing around with the devil's reign and they're talking about it, and you kind of get a sense of what's going to happen in the very beginning of the film when the father comes back and he's all melty faced and stuff. Yeah. So apparently, when you're possessed by the devil, if the devil's reign hits you, you're not gonna do well. You're gonna melt. No. In this, and
you're gonna look like
the
guy from RoboCop.
Right. And then the interesting thing too is when they're possessed, like when they get shot and stuff. Yeah. They bleed like this ooze, like this green ooze. So it almost reminds me of the little guys in Phantasm. The little hooded guys. In Phantasm, except
druids.
Right, except these aren't little fellas. They're people with, eye problems, So there's some things. I mean, honestly, like I think this movie is seeing it like Severin put a pretty good quality print widescreen of this. I think it helps a lot. I'm 99% sure last time I saw this was on VHS in full frame and everything. And this movie is shot really wide. So you're missing some things. You're missing some of the artistic vision that you're getting now with this film. But I can't really honestly tell you I was bored in it though or anything. It's not my kind of movie, but it was keeping me kind of going with it.
Yeah. Well, I liked the simplicity of it. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved the simplicity of that town. Mm-hmm. And just there wasn't many buildings, and then there was just the church. Mm-hmm. And then even when the druids or whatever the Satanists were standing outside of it, just kind of speckled in the foreground. There was some really cool stuff. I mean, But I could see why this didn't do well. I mean, totally. And I'm not beating up on it, but I could see, I don't know.
I agree, but I mean, I'm wondering what people saw in the Fibes movies they didn't see, because to me the Fibes movies are very bizarre and odd and like they're movies onto their own. They're their own genre almost. Yeah. In a way. And it kind of is like, I don't know. To me, it sort of feels like this is more palpable. A little bit, than a Fibes movie. And so I don't really understand. Maybe people are looking for him to push harder or make the same kind of movie. You know how it is. You make two movies that are Fibes movies. The next movie you make, you're up against a wall. With the public, especially back then. I mean, you're really up against a wall. Like, you can't really win. You're not going to win whatever you do, so.
And things are changing at such a fast rate then, too. Genres and
I don't really see why it was panned so hard compared to other things coming out around then.
Oh, I mean, sure.
I think The Car, like we just said, 2 years difference, The Car is a similar devilish type, satanic type movie, and it's not The Car is a better film than this, but it's not like light years ahead of it. I mean, it's not like that. So this is just an interesting movie, and I kind of liked the effects. I like where it goes in the film. The very, very, very end is kind of funny. It's kind of silly, but like the last leading up to that very last like shot and everything and stuff. I like let's just be frank, when the rain starts raining, when it comes down. I thought it was pretty cool. I was a little drawn out. But man, because even Angio turned on us, he's like, well, they're milking this, aren't they? And I was like, well, 1975, this is pretty impressive looking stuff for 1975, and
there you go.
I said,
keep filming.
Yeah. And it's like, it kept me watching it to see how the next person would meet their doom and how they would melt and fall apart and stuff. And I just enjoyed it, and I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. A little bit. Yeah. Like I said, I don't remember it very well. I just remember the end. It's a movie where you remember the end. But leading up to it, I was okay with it. I like how it just jumped in. There's there's no fat in this movie.
No.
I just jumped right in, and here we go. We're in the middle of it. We start. And you almost had to look, and maybe you did. You almost had to look at your little time meter on your player to make sure it didn't start in the middle of the movie or something. And I kind of liked it. There were some interesting moments to me, like when Ernest Borgnine said, there's no evil here. This is just reality. This is just what's.
Yeah. What did he say? Well, purity or something. No, what was it?
If sometime you or audience or whoever look into the Church of Satan, it's not what you think. It's not what you saw in that movie. It is a lot more about going with your urges a little bit more. Not necessarily hurting people, but if someone hurts you, you damn well can hurt them back. It's okay, to do that in this. So it's a little more nature. Really, it's a bit of an extension of witchcraft in a way, where it's just taking it a little bit further, down the dark road, and there's a lot of stuff in it, and it's some of it. You have to understand it to see why people get sucked into it. Let's put it that way.
Sure,
and it's not as wacko as it's wacko. Believe me, it's wacko. But I'm just saying it's what they believe is not necessarily all robes and horns and stuff like that.
And and cutting sheep's heads off,
right? And they tried to, and you could tell that Anton LaFay was they're trying to push this into the film, so they would get a line or two or something in there, and then they'd cut a goat's head off or something like that. And then they did what then
they carved something on Shatner's chest.
Right. So they kind of they all came tumbling down. But I'm going to give this movie just a regular Great Bait Bub. I actually, it wasn't that bad, and I think it's pretty good. I will go back and watch this again. And I don't like devil cult movies very much. It's not really my bag. And I think this was okay. This was okay for that kind of film. I have a hard time with these movies and witchcraft movies.
Well, I'm glad it's not your bag.
That's true. Yeah.
Your bag of potions.
I don't have much of a bag when it comes to this
Dark
stuff.
arts.
Yeah. Right. So, but I'm going to give it just a regular Great Bait Bub. I thought it was actually better than I expected it to be, even from seeing it before. So it obviously, for what it is, held up okay. For how it was made and what it is. Those movies don't hold up very good all the time. I thought it did okay. So that's me. What do you think, Harley?
I'm gonna give it a mild Great Bait Bub, but he didn't hate it by any means. I thought there was a lot of redeeming things about it that I enjoyed. Just overall, it was okay.
Right.
But there were some jarring moments in it that I will not soon forget either, though. So, but I'm glad we watched it, and I'm really being serious about this. When I saw that with Shatner's eyes cut out,
I believe you.
Did they see this before? Maybe did they think about that? Like when they got the mask, I thought, remember Devil's Reign? Yeah, maybe I was thinking. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it.
You might be. Know. It's possible, but not probable.
Because I know they only had two masks. One was a creepy clown mask, and then they had that Shatner one that they, cut the eyes out and spray painted it. And those were the two. And definitely the Shatner one won out. Sure, which I'm glad. I'm real happy. Imagine where we would be. We wouldn't have a Halloween. It probably wouldn't have been near as good.
No.
So
that's made perfect.
Yeah. So just a mild. I did enjoy it though. I did. I like the simplicity of it.
That's what I was trying to say. It's a complicated story, but it makes it simplistic by it only gives you one piece of information and allows you to go with it. I like the simple images that it was showing me too. Sure,
I like that.
Right.
That's why I like High Plains Drifter. I know I keep going back to that same thing. Simple, straightforward. Just it's awesome. I don't know.
Right.
It adds to the movie for me. It adds that little bit of loneliness or desolation or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, you got mild Great Bait. I got a regular Great Bait. Okay. Let's get to our next official film real quick, Mr. Ben Harley. From 1992, we have the film Split Second.
Yeah, Split Second.
Now, let me rehire Movie Guy and see if he can come out here and get through this one here. This looks a little bit...
Split Second.
Yeah, this looks a little bit easier, more coherent, let's say. All right, here we go.
All right, yeah.
In a flooded dystopian future London, Detective Harley Stone hunts a serial killer who murdered his partner and has haunted him ever since. He soon discovers what he is hunting might not be human. Yes. Interesting. This is like Devil Week. This movie, I think the original title was Pentagram.
Oh, really?
So we threw a bunch of Satan shit right up and into each other without even knowing. Angio, like I said, even brought up when we were watching the car. She's like, wait a minute. Oh, no, when we were watching Devil's Ring, she's like, isn't that the same person you were talking about with the quote beginning, of the car? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, did you plan that? I was like, no, I don't remember those little, I don't remember that, It's like, I don't remember the little quote. Yeah. So this is another.
I got a shirt design idea out of this movie too.
Oh, nice.
And not about the movie.
Okay.
There was a poster that said "Smog Kills," and I'm going to do a Smog Monster.
There you go.
Shirt with Smog Kills.
There you go. Yeah. So it is a future London. It was what year was it supposed to be?
2008.
2008.
2008.
Of course, global warming has caused the Earth to flood. As it
did. It
did.
didn't look like there was a lot of flood.
No,
I was looking.
I know. This is your typical, this is your typical, man, just relax.
Just go with it.
Yeah, relax, go with it, whatever. So, takes place, it is a US-UK production. Yeah. Starring Rutger Hauer, Kim Cattrall. Mm-hmm. Alistair Duncan plays the new partner guy.
Yeah, he's a trip.
Yeah, he is a trip. Directed by Tony Melam, who did a little movie called The Burning.
Ah, really? Yes. Okay, nice.
Again, so now let me tell you a little story about this movie. When I was in college, one of my instructors, professors, what have you, was a real nice lady, and she was actually, believe it or not, an ex-Black Panther.
Oh,
I did not get along with anyone better than I did with her in college, even my fellow students. And she was a movie person too. Can you imagine Timo and a Black Panther hanging out, like having great conversations?
Talking about The Burning.
Yeah, about films made by Louis Brunel and things like that. And we were getting all excited. But I remember her telling me on a Friday in class that when class was winding down, she's like, I'm going to see Split Second this weekend. I'm a big Rutger Hauer fan. And I don't remember after she went and saw it, but I do remember this movie came and went. I mean, it came and went, and they had some ads for it. It's very, very 90s British. This movie is. It looks like it. I mean, everything.
Kind of preachy.
A little bit, yeah. So, but yeah, Rutger Hauer is a cop detective, and his partner got killed by a quote serial killer. Yeah. But everybody kind of knows there's something going on here. There's something not human happening with what's with what's going on. And then again, there's kind of like satanic messages left behind.
Yeah, and blood.
Yeah. So, have you seen this one before, Harley?
No, Timo. Okay. I remember it from when it came out. Yeah. I remember, in the store and stuff, but I never watched it. No.
Okay.
And I like Rutger Hauer.
I do too.
I've seen better Rutger Hauer films.
Yeah, right, that's true. Yeah. Well, and then of course we talk about the global warming, but I will tell you one thing. Boy, these people in this movie sure bundle up for the global warming, don't they? Oh, they're wearing a lot of clothes. I mean, they're like long peak coats and stuff like that. We got little Michael J. Pollard again. Very. I mean, as a matter of fact, it was like 10 minutes almost till the movie was over. Where the hell is Michael J. Pollard? You just don't miss that guy. And Ben Harley, Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's not bad in it either. Mm-hmm. The movie itself, Timo, it's so funny because I laugh mostly because, since we've been past 2000, we're 10 years past 2008.
Right.
But a lot of those movies, like when we were growing up and stuff, this post-apocalypse, time periods and stuff.
Right.
A lot of them still look kind of groovy, man. Like there's a lot of neon still in post-apocalyptic Earth, and stuff, which always makes me laugh.
Right.
But Rutger Hauer is very cantankerous in this.
Yeah.
Very cantankerous,
Yeah. And he's agitated. Very agitated.
Very agitated, yeah. But there's a scene like at the beginning he goes into like a club and he's searching for the bean monster type thing or whatever. And I don't he's just mad at everything. He's mad. He tells the dog there's a dog there. That's a watchdog. He calls the watchdog a dick. He he's just he's so cantankerous. Like I don't know. It was kind of odd for me.
Yeah,
it reminded me of Hobo with the Shotgun.
Well, I think it seemed to me like the characters bounced around a lot in temperament, almost like there was a lot cut out of the film.
Yeah,
almost a half hour. It seems. I mean, a lot of times we'll be going through these movies. They could have cut a half hour out. I think they might have cut a half hour out of this. Yeah, because it just really seems like people's characters, their arcs, are at a different trajectory than in most films that you're used to seeing. I mean, they just go from 0 to 60, just like the his new partner, the guy, young whippersnapper.
Oh man!
Of course, is opposite of Rutger Hauer, and then like on a dime, he starts getting all tough and cigar smoking. Like he's trying to be like Rutger Hauer. He's all in. I'm all in. I'm bad. I'm tough guy now, and it happens really fast. And it's like
very fast.
I'm thinking that something might have been lost here. I think something might have been edited, and maybe for the benefit. I mean, of the film, it's not the greatest thing you've ever seen anyway, so maybe paring it down helps. It seemed like they were trying to help the pace, and they made it feel a little clumsier, in a way. And look, I get, and I'm all on board for don't show the creature, too. But this movie gets a little ridiculous. It goes a little overboard, like not. It's like you got to show something here. You got to show something. I mean, because you got nothing. There's nothing to focus on. There's there's somebody maybe killing people. Yeah. But it's real difficult. I mean, to kind of hang on to. And then you kind of realize at the end, sort of, I guess, why they kind of didn't, I guess, show it or whatever. But yeah, it's just, there's some odd things in it. It's an odd film. It's a really odd film,
Well, the thing is, it's like, they're supposed to, he's after like a serial killer. And then they're like, is it a rat? It's part rat. But it can spell, it can eat, it eats parts of people and sends the parts to the police station. I just said no. I'm like, is it a monster animal or is it a person that's dressed like a monster or is he a half monster? I wasn't quite sure.
He has the DNA of everything he's killing. So then and there, you're looking kind of like at an alien type thing, but then he's making satanic.
He's absorbing,
but he's also putting up satanic messages and stuff like that too. So it gets a little like, that's why I swear to you, I think there's a lot of stuff edited out. The one thing that I caught. Yeah, I did catch this. We were sitting there watching one of the few quiet scenes in a movie between Rutger Hauer and Kim Cattrall. Yeah, and I'm sitting there and they're doing their dialogue, which you care less about. You're sitting there watching this, and I looked over to Angie. I go, they ripped off the Moody Blues for the theme music. Yeah, and then as we went on, I know, but then as we went on, I was like, oh no, it is Knights of White Satin. But when they just had the little instrumentation of it during a quiet scene with little piano notes and stuff, I even rewound it. I go, listen. Yep. Listen, she goes, what? I go, don't you hear? Knights in White Satin. And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, you're right. And then like 2 minutes later, the actual song starts playing. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, they probably blew a big part of the budget to get the Moody Blues song in there. Yeah. But it's kind of prominent in a strange way.
It is. Yeah. Well, it threw me because I was like, wait, I know this song. Totally. And it's funny that you said that because that wasn't as jarring as some of the other things in the film, but no, it did. Right. I did recognize that. Yeah, that's funny.
And it's clumsy. Yeah. It's got clumsy editing. And I still think a lot was cut out, but I'm saying like it makes it feel like it's clumsy editing. I will tell you one thing though, that it was better than I remembered it because I went in with the lowest of low expectations because I remembered not liking this movie at all when it came out. Remember, this was 1992, right in that transition period where you got excited about things coming out, and then you saw it, and you're like, oh man. And this was kind of like one of those movies, and I was just getting tired. I was getting tired of it already. But my low expectations definitely help because I'm watching it thinking I'm going to hate it. I'm like, well, this isn't that bad. I mean, there's some things going on here, but then the finale of the film is just terrible. Yeah, the very, very end, to me at least, it's just terrible. But the journey to it was a little more entertaining then I remembered it for when I saw it. I haven't seen it since 92, 93, whenever it came out on video. I didn't see it in theater, but I saw it right when it came out.
Yeah.
On video, and I just it was just like an hour and a half of a day. That's it. And I was like, oh, fuck. You know, but it was a little bit more entertaining as a whole piece.
Sure.
But there was still some definite plot holes,
plot holes, yeah,
never-ending holes, black holes, whatever you want to call them in the film that was kind of sucking the life out of it.
Yeah,
it's just one of those uncomfortable, uneven films.
Yeah.
Again, if you're someone like me who saw this when it came out and you were fatigued like I was, this is one of those movies you go back to. There's a little bit something more there because you're so removed from that era. And you've seen much worse shit come out since then. So it does stack up okay against really bad movies today.
Sure.
You know, basically.
Well, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, it's one of those movies that when it came out, if I would have seen it when it came out, I probably would have had the same reactions I have now. You know, there were so many of these that came out then. They all started to blend together to me. Yeah. Like I was kidding
kind of
with
a Predator type, Alienist-esque type ripoff type movie. Yeah.
And it's all, everything's, you know, just dirty and grungy.
Right.
But there's still neon lights. Why? I don't know.
Right.
But, you know,
it's almost like a
is,
futuristic Predator 2.
Yeah.
With one creature or killer or whatever. Guy or whatever.
And the creature kind of looked like Venom.
A little bit.
At the end. I was like, wait, is that Venom?
Yeah. He went down easy, though. He went down pretty damn easy. And I was like, what?
Did.
Yeah. But I'm going to, you know what, I don't know. As I'm getting away from watching it, like the time is increasing, I'm going back to on this movie. Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy it more. It was okay. But it's just, it's a good try. I get what they were thinking of, but
it
is like a cross between like Predator 2 and 7. That's probably a really good. It's a cross. And if you're like, huh? Well, watch the damn thing, and you'd be like, oh, you know, so you'll get it. But that is it. Yeah. You know, so I think I'm going to have to on it though.
I definitely. Can't really poop on it, but it's not one that I can really. I really enjoyed and/or will recommend. So
you straddling your nutsack on the fence again?
No, I'm on the other side, not the good side of the fence. I'm on the bad side of the fence.
But you're not pooping on it?
No, I can't really poop on it.
So you're on the fence.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
you're scooting along the top of a chain link fence, hurting yourself.
Nah, I didn't like it that much.
No. Okay,
but
so you just don't want to say you're going to poop on it, probably because Rutger Hauer's in it, Kim Cattrall's cute in it. So.
Yeah, and her boobs are in it too.
Well, it's great. There's 2 great babes up for
right. So,
but besides that, you know,
some redeeming qualities.
I mean, it's trying like the Knights in White Satins. I like when they use songs like that. I think it's a cool idea. It just doesn't really fit anything. It doesn't. Not the mood of the movie or anything. So it was almost like a mishmash of different people trying to get their points across in a film, and too many cooks in the kitchen. Put it that way. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Overcooked, too many cooks. So all right. Well, I'm gonna on split second, and you're gonna scoot along a chain link fence and sit on it. And would you have a mild grape ape up for Devil's Reign, and then I had a regular grape ape up for Devil's Reign. So Mr. Ben Harley, next week, if I'm not mistaken, and I usually am, we're gonna have a Halloween show next week.
Yes, we are.
We're agonizing over what to review for that, so it's probably not gonna make anybody satisfied, I'm sure, but including us. But we'll get to it either way, Mr. Ben Harley. So until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.